Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining this webinar on making the most of working from home. Before I start and before I introduce myself, a few things that I want to get out of the way. Um, we have a lot of you joining on call today. Therefore, I've put everybody on mute. I'm sure many of you are already working from home. So there is a lot of chances of, kids and pets in the background, so we wanted to reduce all the background noise. Secondly, just because I've put people on mute does not mean that we don't want this session to be as interactive as possible. I already see a lot of you are, saying hello and hi to everybody on the chat window. Keep the spirit up for the next half an hour. Please use the Q&A and the chat icon on the bottom of your screen to ask me a question or to just chime in whenever you have the opportunity to. There's also a raise your hand icon if you see on your screen. And at this moment, you could all just raise your hand so I know you are all seeing that icon. Oh, a lot of you are raising hands. You're already so collaborative. Thank you. I look forward to this session. Thanks for doing that. Okay. Uh, Now, question answers, the questions are anonymous. So if you want to ask me something and you don't want the rest of the world to know, please go ahead. Feel free to ask those questions. In the chat, you have the option of chatting with me, the host alone, or you could also send your chats to everybody who's on the webinar, and you can choose whatever suits you. Okay, a recording of this webinar will be sent out to all of you. I usually get a lot of questions around, will I get to see the slides? Yes, in the recording of the webinar, you will see the slides and you will also hear me taking you through those slides. So I think with that, we have the logistics out of the way and we can start with today's session. So again, thank you for joining and a very, very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Jincy George. I am a talent management consultant with Ahria Consulting. Um, and I'm excited about taking you through making the most of working from home session. I myself, in the last 13 years of having worked in learning and development and talent management, I have worked for over 3 years from home. I also have a husband who has worked from home for over 8 years now. So working from home and how you can be productive and how you can really make most of that time, um, I feel that I have a lot to contribute to that, and hopefully I'm able to bring it to you today. Okay, so now this whole idea of virtual work and why we are doing this webinar surely stems from the pandemic, right? The COVID-19 situation that has forced us to be at home and contribute from home. But I said this last week when we did the session on leading remote teams, that virtual work is not a new thing, and you shouldn't look at it as a thing that is a temporary fix. Virtual work is here to stay. It is not going to go away. In fact, there have been a lot of studies. One such study was done by LinkedIn, and they asked about 2,000 professionals and about 1,000 hiring managers, how many of you would like to really work from home? Over 82% of them said that they would want at least one day of the week to be working from home. 57% of them said they would like at least 3 days of work from home. There was another Gallup study done in the US, so the numbers are American, and the study found that about 43% of Americans occasionally work from home. This number actually has gone up since the last time they did the study in 2012. The numbers have gone up by 5%. And 5% is equal to 8 million people in the United States. So you can see how big that number of people actually working and contributing from home is. Now, here's the fact. This number is only going to increase. The number of people who are going to virtually support from home is going to increase. And why is that? Two reasons. One is there is an increasing focus on higher education. People want to, have degrees, and they want to ensure that they don't stop at a certain point in their education. So the more people educate themselves, the more chances are of them finding cerebral work that can be done from home. That's one. The second reason why work from home is going to increase, and you are going to increasingly see people working from home, is this whole new demand for work-life balance. And I'm sure we are not new as a consulting firm to see this, but I'm sure you've also seen it in your employee engagement surveys. You would have seen an increasing demand for work-life balance. Um, how many of you would agree that that is true? You can either raise your hands or just use the chat window. Yeah, I see so many of you raising your hands. Thank you. Yeah, so there's this huge increase in people wanting work-life balance, and that is going to be another reason why organizations are really going to loosen up about their flexible work policy, and they're really going to invest in ensuring that people and employees can work from home. So now that we understand that work from home is not just a COVID-19 reality, but also going to be a reality as we go ahead, especially as we start working with millennials, it is going to be the new world of work. Let me ask you another question, which is, this is a poll. So get ready to respond in the poll window that you may now see. Are you really looking forward to working from home and working virtually? And there are three choices here, and I hopefully you can now see the poll on your screen. There are three choices. No, you don't look forward to working from home. It isn't as much fun as coming to work. The second one is yes, I have always wanted to work from the comfort of my home, from my couch. The third one is I'm undecided. I'm yet to see how it works out for me. I've never done it. It's a new reality for me. Okay, so a lot of responses coming in. I have, okay, so I have the largest percentage saying that they're undecided. They're yet to see how it works out for you. So that's great. So, I'm sure this session is going to be really beneficial in helping you make the most of this new setup. I have 27% of you saying, no, I really don't like this. I would rather come to work. Yes, I think somewhere I belong to that category of people too. I would rather come to work. It was also why I kind of looked out when I was working from home. I looked out for another opportunity where I could go to work. I also have 29% of you saying, yes, I've always wanted to work from the comfort of my home. So thank you so much, everybody, for responding. So most of you said you're undecided. And then the second highest score goes to people who said, yes, we are looking forward to working from home. So I'm going to share the results now with all of you so you can take a look at it. Okay. So, so for those of you who are really excited, and for those of you who are undecided, and also for those of you who are not really excited, this is my next question to you, right? We know that work from home is flexible. It gives you flexibility to manage your own work schedule. It gives you flexibility to work from wherever, whichever part of the house you want to work from. It allows you to create your own workspace. It allows you to take care of people who are probably depending on you, which is, young children or, aging parents. So it does allow you those kind of flexibility. But what are the challenges, according to you, of working from home, right? What are things that you are not particularly excited about when it comes to working from home? This is the moment for you to use your chat window to respond. What are the challenges of working from home? Okay, so I have responses coming in on the chat window. Thank you, everybody, for too many distractions. I have someone saying family is a distraction. I have difficulty focusing, not enough exercise, and eating too much. Thank you for that. My dog barks. Lack of social interaction with people, too many distractions, family distractions. We do not have enough space. That's a legitimate concern for a lot of people. Children, lack of childcare currently, absolutely. Staying on schedule, connecting with coworkers, more hours of working. Yes, that's a real concern too. Missed coworkers, yes. Oh, so many of you participated. Thank you so much for all your responses. So there's distraction, there is your lack of connection with people, there is lack of exercise and the opportunity to eat more. There is, dogs barking in the background or children crying and wanting our attention in the background. A lot of you have written, not able to really manage your schedule well, getting distracted, getting interrupted, and trying to juggle a lot of things at the same time kind of throws people off. So, yes, so in my session today, I will try and address a few of these issues for sure. Hopefully, you find something that helps you with all of those things. So, let's look at the first thing about working from home. Okay. You're all right. You are all correct when you say that, it's a juggling act and it's got its own challenges. Now, on one hand, you would say that I can manage my own schedule if I'm working from home. On the other hand, managing your own schedule also means you're either doing too little or you're doing too much, like a lot of you said in the chat, right? You're working endlessly because you don't really see the start and the finish line of your work. You're at home, you have access to your email, so you're constantly working. You also have flexibility of taking care of people. So you can take care of your children, you can take care of your pets, you can take care of your aging family members. But on the other hand, the reality is this leads to interruptions, leads to dependencies, and you are constantly juggling between, whether you're taking care or whether you're just taking up too much in your family. And the last one, when you are not commuting and you're not really, driving up to work, yes, you saved some time, but because you don't do that, the other reality is you don't really transition. You don't come into work and slowly settle in. Like every day morning, I come in, I have a place to put my bag, I have a place to put my other bag, and that just gets me into the zone of working. But when I'm home, I'm not doing any of that. Therefore, I may not really have any transition to work and out of work. And that's really the biggest issue with working from home. It's got all these great things on one hand, but on the other hand, there's so much that we need to do better at. And my hope is that at the end of the day, you go back with the idea that some boundaries and some balancing acts will really help you with making the most of working from home. Now, let's look at the first thing that will help you with doing a better job at working from home, which is creating a workplace away from workplace. I tried to do a play on creating home away from home, right? So here's the first thing. How many of you are familiar with this position, this seating position on the bed with your laptop? How many of you have done that? How many of you perhaps are currently doing that? No judgment though. Okay, a lot of you raising your hands. A lot of you. Okay. So at some point, if I have done this and, totally confessing at this point that I've done this. How many of us, we sit on our beds and then we work, or we sit on a couch and we have our laptop on our lap and we work? Now that's the worst way to really be working. So what I would want to tell you all, if you are currently sitting on a bed and working, or if you're sitting on a couch and working, it is not an excellent seating arrangement, because it will affect your body after a while. It affects your eyesight because you are kind of looking down at your laptop. It will affect your back after a while. It will affect your neck in some time. So the first thing all of us need to remember when we work from home is to actually create a working environment that we can go into when we start our day. Now, I do hear a lot of you saying, some of you said, I don't have enough space in my house to really set up. Now, when we really talk about setting up an office space, the idea is not to have a lavish table and a big bookshelf and drawers and things like that. What you actually need is a table and a chair and a place to rest your laptop in such a way that your laptop or your monitor is a few inches above your eye level and you can really see it. Right now I'm looking at my laptop, but I have a monitor here that is a few inches above my eye level, and I work on that monitor. So that's the idea. The idea is to not have a lavish space, but to have a small compact space where you have a table, an adjustable chair, and your laptop. This could be even in a bedroom, you could be putting a small table and a chair. It doesn't necessarily have to be a designated room for working. Now, I've also had people in the summer working from home who would sit under a tree with their laptop and their chair. But if that's where you're going to go, then that tree has to be your designated workspace. Every day you go there, so you're sending a message to your family that that's my office space, that's the no disturb zone, that's where I go to get work done. And for you mentally, you realize that now I am occupying a space where I am going to work. The second, the second tip that I would like to give you is to have these necessities like a high performance router, a secure Wi-Fi line, and a cord-free area created for yourself to work. Now, you need a secure Wi-Fi line because you're going to be working on confidential files that are to do with your work. So have a secured Wi-Fi line. Have a cord-free area. You don't want to be tripping on your laptop cord or on the, on your headset cord or your mobile chargers. You don't want to be tripping in those areas. So make sure that you've put the cords away. You've created a clean area where you can move freely. And the third thing I would like to tell you is, wherever you are working, and if you're working right now from your home, just look around and see if you are probably able to see the television and you can see the scores of an ongoing match, or you can see a commercial on your TV screen, or if you can see your kids watching things on the screen. Also, do you have a lot of auditory interruptions, like cars passing by, or I don't know, the kitchen is right next door and you can hear things moving in the kitchen. So if possible, ensure that your office space is away from those visual and auditory interruptions that you could have that would distract you from work. Now, I understand there are parents of really small children and you want to keep an eye on them while you're working. How many of you are in that predicament? Parents of small children need to keep an eye on your kids. Yes. So a lot of you raise your hands. In that case, it's so easy to get distracted by children playing or the sounds of all their ABCDs that are on the screen. So make sure there is at least probably a window from which you can probably see them, but you are not really hearing all these noises. So what I do is I try to have my door closed, but I sit in a way that I can see them from the window and I can see what they are doing. My kids are 5 and 2, so I need to keep an eye on them too. Or I give myself solid time spots, like 10 minutes that I'm working on something, or 20 minutes that I'm going to work on something focused, and then I go out to check on them if everything is okay. And then I come back, take a 20-minute time slot to work and focus. So those are ways in which you can ensure that you are creating a workspace that allows you to concentrate, because otherwise there are more chances of interruptions and disruptions. Now, my next question to all of you, when you work from home, and hopefully you can see this poll on your screen now. Okay, when you work from home, what is a bigger challenge? Is it losing track of time and working continuously, or is it a lot of interruptions and hence working erratically? What's your biggest concern? Okay. All right. A lot of you responding. Okay. So I am going to share the results now for all of you to see. So 64% of you said that there are a lot of interruptions and hence you work erratically. And some of you said, I probably just lose time and I continue to work, right? Okay. So now, I wanted to show all of you this image that I saw a long time ago when I was researching on time management for a session. This is a treadmill, and this, on the other hand, is a racetrack. So what I remember reading is work is not like being on the treadmill. Right? It's not this continuous thing that you have to continuously be running on. What happens if you're continuously running on a treadmill? You get strained, you get burnt out, you get tired, your productivity decreases after a while, you're not really performing, um, you are just running aimlessly, right? um, Work, on the other hand, should be treated like a racetrack where there is a definitive starting line and a definitive finish line. So then you are focused, you have a goal, and that's the goal you're running towards. You're not really aimlessly running. So that, I thought, was an image that really helps me to think about my work day. And so here it is for you, right? Treat your workday like a race. And that means there has to be a definitive starting point for your workday. Now, you can mark your starting point on your Outlook calendar, right? Or on whatever calendar you use, your Google Calendar, your Microsoft Calendar. Your workday starts at 8 o'clock or 8:30, whatever that is. What signals the start of your workday? Is it an email you send to your boss? Is it a huddle that you have with your team? In Ahria, at 8:30 in the morning, we all have a team huddle. And that signals the start of my work from home work day. At 8:30 in the morning, I have a huddle. I have to start my work by then. So at 8:15, I'm at my desk. I have my coffee. I'm ready. And usually we are up in a video. So, there's an added pressure of looking presentable. So that gets us going for the start of the day. So have a clear start time. So it shouldn't be I tumble out of bed at any time in the day and that's when I start. The next is have a clear end time of your day. What does your end time look like? Does it look like 4 o'clock in the evening? Does it look like 5 o'clock in the evening? Whatever it is, signpost it. Let your family know that I go to work at this time, I start work at this time, I end work at this time. So I will be available to you after 5, or I will be available to you 100% after 5, but during the day I cannot be available to you 100%. Now, to explain that to my 5-year-old has been quite difficult, but I think they're also new to this entire thing, new to having me sitting at home constantly working. So they will learn. Every day I give them cues about, no, mama's at work and I don't have a lot of time. I will talk to you and I'll play with you and I'll work on your craft after 5 o'clock. So signal that to your family. The second one is find your peak productive time. Not all of us are morning people. I, for one, I'm not a morning person. I'm a night person. I'm a night owl. So what is your productive time? When is it that you would do your best work? Find it for yourself. So let me ask all of you on the chat window, and I'm forcing you to think about this. On the chat window, tell me, what is your peak productive time? Is it the afternoon? Is it morning? Is it evening? What's your peak productive time? Hey, you guys are really quick on the keyboard, eh? Okay, morning, mid-morning, afternoon, morning around 5 or 6. Oh, that's early. Morning. I have a lot of morning people on this call. I'm not really liking it. Yeah, okay. A lot of you, is there anybody who's an evening person, a night person like me? Anyone who's a night owl? No one? All of you are morning or afternoon people. Oh my God. Okay. I'm a night owl. Thank you. I have one person who's a night owl. Okay. Not for work, just play. Okay. Thank you. Whatever is your peak productive time, let the people who work with you know. Let your teams know. Let your manager know that, hey, I do better at this time. I have less distraction at this time. My children, play at this time. Therefore, I'm more productive at this time. Communicate that, let your teams know, and be there. Use that particular time, in the best way you can. So if you're a morning person, schedule your calls for the morning. Have time taken out from your schedule for your projects in the morning. Get all of it done. Things that don't really add to your goal, don't really contribute to your goal for the day, do it when your energy is kind of lagging. um, I have one on the third point here, which says have a clear finishing time. I have mentioned transition out. There's this great article I read recently. In fact, if you go to the Ahria page on LinkedIn, you would probably see this article. I had put it up there, which was how do you close at the end of your day if you're working from home. Now, when you are at work, there are some things that you do when you close, which is, you pack your bag, you take your coat, and, you say goodbye to everybody and you physically leave, which you're not able to do when you work from home, when you're working from home. So how do you transition out when you're working from home? A few things that you could do is tidy your desk. Also ensure that you are making a to-do list for the next day. Another tip is to do something, do something of gravity that marks the end of your day, which would be sending an email out, an important email out. You send that so you know that, okay, I have done this piece for today. Whatever it is that helps you mentally switch off from work and move into your personal time for the day. Um, Another tip that I have for you is have 3 goals for the day. The number three is usually easier for the brain to retain. 3 goals for the day, write them down, and at the end of the day, see if you were able to get those 3 things done. Now, you can decide what is the priority of those goals, how heavy, how small they are. That's for you to decide. And the last one is when nobody is watching you, there is a tendency of, going on your phone, being on social media, especially at this time when there's news pouring in about new cases and, new findings. There is this tendency of going on your phone. When nobody is there to monitor you, this is time, didn't somebody say that character is what you do when nobody is watching you? That's something I remind myself right now. Nobody is watching you. What do you do with your time? Practice integrity. So, make sure you're working, you have your to-do list, you're going through it, putting a tick mark against those things. And at the end of the day, what I do is I send out an email to my manager saying, here are the things I closed, here are the things that are remaining, here's what I plan to do tomorrow. So that's a great way of ensuring that you know that you're answerable to somebody, even if that person is not asking you for anything. My manager doesn't really want me or to send that, but you feel that you're answerable to somebody and you integrate that into your daily routine. Now, the next thing I have for you is setting boundaries. And I'm sure many of you who are parents and parents of pets or parents of children, you find this difficult. Also, people who now have their spouse or partner working from home and the entire family just at home. I know that this becomes so difficult. So, one of the things I would like to tell you is don't create a tight schedule for yourself. My husband has done this successfully over 8 years. He doesn't really schedule calls back to back. After every call, he gives himself 15 minutes, 20 minutes time before he gets on to another call. So that's a great way of, if you want to check in on the children, if you want to maybe grab a snack, you have that time in your schedule to move, and movement being so important when you are isolated inside your house. We'll talk about it in a minute. The second thing is plan a child-free time. I had a lot of you raising your hands before saying you have children. Those of you who have children, child-free time can look different for those of you who have babies. It can look different for people with toddlers, people with older kids. It can look different for all of you. I would like to tell you about this website. It's called Pointer, but the spelling of Pointer is Poyntner. I'll put that in the chat window after the webinar. There's pointer.com, I think, and they have a great article on managing children when you're working from home. The author of that article has split it between how do you manage babies, how do you manage toddlers, how do you manage your older kids. But a few things that I picked from there, limit your you know allow them to have, be more flexible with screen time. Allow them screen time. Yes, we don't want that. Yes, it's not the best practice. But if you are really trying to juggle work and home, don't become extremely, stringent and, um, you know, very forceful about screen time, because we all can't be superheroes at this time, right? So allow some flexibility when it comes to screen time. Lots of activities out there that you could be giving to your children, keeping them busy. If they are older kids, maybe you start a movie right before your call, so they get engrossed in that movie while you're on call. So there are lots of ideas there. Again, you can choose the something that works for you. These are all just ideas, and I'm not saying that you have to pick that, but please choose what works for you when it comes to your children. But you could block a time out. If your child takes a nap 2 to 3, that would be your child free time, where you get your most important work for the day done. If you have partners and family at home, ask for support and reach out for support. We cannot do everything on our own, so don't feel, don't think twice before really reaching out and asking, hey, can you manage breakfast while I take this call? Can you manage lunch while I do this? My husband and I worked from home together for the 3 years that I stayed at home. So there are a lot of times, and I do it now as well, which is if my husband is on call, I don't schedule a call at that time. So I'm available for anything that's, urgent at home. So it's a great way to balance out between people at home. And the last one is to be patient. Be patient with your children, because this is a new reality for them. They're not able to go out, they're not able to go to school, they're not able to go to any community workshops. So it's a new reality for them. Be patient with your spouse and be patient with yourself as you learn to manage this time of total isolation and total restraint. And the last thing that I want to leave you with today, as you work from home, and especially during COVID-19, where we are not meeting friends, where we are not really going out, and where we have this added mental anxiety of what's going to happen next, manage yourself and take care of yourself. One of the things I want to tell you is to force yourself to go out and get some sunlight. Sunlight actually triggers the receptors in your brain, which create serotonin, and serotonin actually keeps you calm when there is anxiety. Also, sunlight allows you to absorb vitamin D, and vitamin D is, extremely important to have, for your immunity and for your body's general well-being. So try to get sunlight. I usually tell people, if you are creating a home office, try to create a home office near the window, so you get as much white light as possible. If it is not possible and you are in a basement somewhere, you have the added responsibility of stepping out and really going out and getting some sun. So if you're taking a call on your phone, maybe you could be walking out into the sun and taking that call, or sitting near a window and taking that call on your phone. The second one is movement. When we come to work, we walk to our car, we drive our car, we walk from the parking lot to the workplace, we walk to the printer, walk to the kitchen. There's so much movement when you come to work. When you don't go to work and you're stuck at home, it's our responsibility to mimic that and create movement for ourselves, because movement helps regulate our emotion, which, if you break down, it's emotion. So based on our emotions can be regulated. So ensure that you move as much as possible. It's comfortable to sit on a couch with your laptop, but sitting on a chair generally forces people to get up more often than sitting on a couch. So try doing that. And the third one for you is connections. Yes, you're not able to really meet your team members, but virtual connections is the second best thing we can do. Connect with people, make an effort to call them. And I always tell organizations, go on a video conversation, because then you can see people's faces. You can see visual cues and auditory cues that you would otherwise not see on a call. And that actually helps build trust, especially in times like these. And the last one is to assume positive intent. When you don't see people and they're all behind a technology and behind a screen, there are chances of assuming the worst, right? Or really questioning people's intentions. In those times, call upon yourself to assume positive intent, because that will keep you in a positive frame of mind, and helps you manage anxiety and isolation that is part and parcel of what's happening today. So we looked at how do you create a home office, how do you keep boundaries and manage interruptions, how do you take care of yourselves. So out of all of this, my last question for you today, and I would love to see your responses in the chat window, is what is that one action item that you're taking back from today's webinar? What's that one thing that you have, you want to practice, that you want to incorporate in your day? Three item to-do list. Yes. Setting better boundaries. Thank you. Maintaining boundaries. Yes. Creating a positive workspace and the 3-item list. Yeah. Taking care of myself. Yes. Isn't that a great one? Learning to switch off, summarize day and make game plan. Yeah. Getting sunlight. Getting sunlight. A lot of you are saying getting sunlight. Set up a small table in a bedroom and make it your workspace. I think that will help considerably. Yeah. Adding movement. Setting a daily schedule and 3 action items. Thank you. Talking to family about when interruptions are okay and when they are not okay. Yes. When is your productive time and your transitions out of work and into work? Yeah. Getting to move, getting sunlight, specify my workspace, adding movement. Great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing what you learned. Start at the same time every day, says somebody. Yes, that's that is extremely helpful. You mentally switch on at work, and at 5 o'clock I kind of close down things and I tell my family, okay, my work is over, but my peak productive time is in the night. So after my kids go to bed, I sit up and I do my reading and I do what I need to do for the next day at night. But that's just how I have scheduled work. And because my youngest is 2-year old, I do get interrupted a lot more. So that buffer time, I use it in the night. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining today, and thank you so much for taking out time and participating in the chat and in the poll. I really enjoyed spending this half an hour, a little more than half an hour, with you today. We have another webinar on Thursday, 2:30 again, and that webinar is on supporting employees through transition. I have a lot of you saying thank you. Thank you so much. I will share a link of this webinar with all of you soon. And I'll also share a feedback survey with you. If you could share your feedback, that'll be great. Thank you, everybody. On the chat window, I will give you the link to the article that I was talking about. Those of you who are parents, you can look at pointer.com, I believe. Sorry, pointer.com. Not the first one. This is POYNTER. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Take care. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, I have a pointer. It would be POYNTER, pointer.org. You are right, Alicia. Thank you so much. It is POYNTER.org. I'm so sorry, I got that wrong. POYNTER.org, pointer.org, for parents who are looking for information on how to manage children. Great one, pointer.org. Thank you. Thank you, Alicia, for helping me with that. Thanks, everybody. See you. Bye bye.